It's been very busy. As a club, we took lockdown as a positive and said, okay, what can we do better? So we restructured everything from underage, from minis, all the way through to senior. So we looked at how we do things as a group in terms of coaching. So I have a mandate from the club to increase the numbers of underage players coming through to senior rugby. So we said, how are we going to do that? And the easiest way to do it is to make sure that we have a pathway which brings not only players but coaches from underage through to senior rugby. So that's what we've been working on. So we have a rugby committee comprising of Niall Cowie as chairperson, Marcus Horn and myself. We also liaise with Jerry Casey of Munster Rugby in his role as Regional Development Officer. So Jerry has been instrumental in helping us to formalise a coaching plan for underage to help facilitate the upskilling of our existing underage coaching and players. In addition to that, we have a working group. The working group comprises of the club secretary, the chairman of the field committee, player welfare officer, first team manager, a ladies liaison and underage liaison. The idea is that there are specific job descriptions for each role. So regardless of the person in the roles remain the same. And so over the next few years, if people want to move in or out or up or down, within the structure, the roles remain the same. We took a lot of time to find the right coaches. We spoke to a lot of people. Some people ruled themselves out, we ruled others out. We had in our heads, specifically, we wanted coaches who would facilitate development of players. We were lucky to secure the services of Pat O'Connor as first team head coach and Stephen Keogh as forwards coach. We've retained Will Hughes as strength and conditioning coach, and we believe that the triumvirate of those three is really going to bring us to the next level. For the ladies senior side, Lee Fitzgerald is head coach, Rosemary Dillon, former player, is forwards coach, and Denise Tracy, another former player in Club International, is backs coach. With the under-20s, we're delighted to say that Dan Fogarty has remained on as head coach. So with the second 15, we have delighted to welcome back Ross O'Loughlin, and he's joined by Robert Coates as his assistant. With the thirds, we have Donncha McNamara and Declan O'Halloran. We spent a lot of time and a lot of effort went into securing the right people for the job, rather than just finding the first people that were available. Ladies rugby is one of the largest growth sports in Ireland. About 15 years ago, Shannon were pioneers in ladies rugby in Ireland. We want to bring it back to that. As with the men's side of things, we want an integrated pathway which will allow players come from our very successful underage into adult rugby. The same applies for ladies rugby. We felt that we needed to strengthen our coaching across the adult teams. With that in mind, our partnership with LIT has increased and they now are taking over the under-18s. So we're going to put a lot of time and effort into putting the right people in place to make sure that kids coming from underage ladies rugby into adult rugby have integrated pathways but proper coaching so that we can produce the next Amanda Greensmith, Aoife Doyle or Joy Neville. The underage of any club is the lifeblood of the club. Shannon are no different. We have huge numbers every weekend. We've asked ourselves, how do we harness that? How do we make it better? We believe that the progression of coaches and mentors with each age group through to the next age group facilitates the increase of those kids moving from age group to age group, which gets harder as they get older. The relationships built up with those coaches, between those players and with the parents is critical, so that when they go into school, we get them back when they're finished. So one of the main things that we're trying to do is that we're going to upskill those coaches, that they're ready to facilitate that. The other big thing that we're trying to do is we're bringing a modified strength and conditioning program into under 16s and under 18s. It just means that we will monitor what they're doing in training. A lot of these guys, they get excited, they really want to get bigger, get stronger, but they're doing it too soon, their body isn't ready for it. So what we're doing is, under the guidance of our head strength and conditioning coach, Will Hughes, we're going to put in a program for the 16s and the 18s that they'll be monitored at every level so that the conditioning that they're doing is the right conditioning for their age group, which means that when they do get to adult rugby, their bodies are better prepared for the rigours that rugby will present itself. Short-term goals, get as many people back on the pitch, both in a playing and coaching capacity when the season starts up. As I mentioned earlier, to implement our new underage strength and conditioning program, to upskill all our underage coaches so that they feel best positioned to be able to meet the challenges as they move through the underage grades, to set up a player database so that we know the type of players that we have coming through, the positions that we have coming through, so we basically have a depth chart, and then a couple of years out from them coming into senior, we know where we need to put the emphasis on in terms of coaching. The club's long-term goals then would be to increase the playing numbers in the women's game, to further strengthen our already excellent relationship with Limerick Institute of Technology, to also increase the number of kids transitioning from underage rugby through to adult rugby, whether that be club rugby, professional rugby, or just social rugby, and to regain our 1A status and maintain it.